Yo guys, I've got a spark which I'm going to use to ignite the fire for a brand new episode of the Skylanders Trap Team Soul Seeker series here on the channel. Tech has just became active, which means that we get to switch out for a Trap Master corresponding to this very same element, that being Jawbreaker, the soul of whom we seeked out in the very first level, right after Blade's soul was seeked out actually. It is go time. It's go time for me to take a food fight off a portal and replace them with Jawbreaker. That's fine with nickname settings being off because that means we no longer need to worry about my Jawbreaker being nicknamed Juggernaut because that is what Demigod Smurder called him by accident, and I've never let him live down said accident since. Call Skylanders by their names, as an anime once said. Call me by my name. I can't believe I just made an anime reference in a Skylanders video. That's what this has became. Well, that's inconvenient. Don't fly away like that. I kinda wanna trap you. Why don't you just fight me now and get it over and done with, rather than dragging this whole ordeal out? I'm even staring at your Imaginator's figure as we speak, and if you're an Imaginator's figure, that means that you don't last very long in this game, that's for sure. Ooh, chicken! Yeah, do not mind if we do. Oh, and here comes the foul villain himself. So before we fight that guy, we're actually going to come all the way back here, despite the fact that the camera really doesn't want to let me. And we're going to speak with this fella up here. Wow, my fists are still glowing. Anyway, what they need is more than singing. So luckily, once we defeat Bruiser Cruiser, we can switch out for him and gain access to that very same villain quest up there. Oh man, I have so many sparks. Speaking of sparks, here comes the Hypercharged Haymaker. It's so broken, I love it. Oh really, bro? You wanna go? Huh? You wanna go? You wanna go? You wanna go? You wanna go? Huh? 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 Oh, I'm definitely the superior puncher, all right. That boxer match, we just kind of swept the floor with that guy. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost, anyway. And what you heard was the glorious sound of the trap sculpt being placed into the portal itself. So that way we can ensure Bruiser Cruiser has been captured and is ready to redeem himself with his villain quest, aka the glorified heroic challenge. That is once obviously this unnecessary deep stew is out of the way, which seems to be asking for a lot. Bruiser Cruiser, here we go, sir. Some eagle-eyed viewers would notice that I had to do a cut right there. That's because I was running out of space for a single PlayStation clip, so I decided to end that clip, resynchronize all of the audio, and then get back to it, starting a whole fresh new clip, so then I wouldn't run out of space on the original one and lose a couple of seconds of gameplay as a result. That's a plan, Brady. That would be plan. That is clearly the greatest reward of them all. It'd be very rewarding right now if I could listen to the music of this game, but that's asking for too much as it's copyrighted. Curse for copyright music of this game. Curse it, I tell you. Anyway, we have the, Oh, shit, I need to return the trap to the portal. I was about to say we have the villain stash already acquired so I could take the trap out of the portal, but the game said no! Ooh, that's a rather fancy schmancy looking hat, the Paperboy hat, which we shall not be wearing. Like how we shall also not be having the trap in the portal for any longer. Yeah, here we go, alright. Robo Rage mode for the win. Anyway, what you want to do is you want to jump out of it as that attack comes to an end, because then you don't need to worry about the cooldown and the vulnerability frames of it. Now that was an accident right there. I meant to mash the square button and accidentally caught the triangle button in the process of doing so. Man, if I had a nickel for every single time I pushed the wrong button in the video game. Well, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's very odd how that happened twice. Yeah, there you go. Phineas and Ferb reference for the win! Oh, I punched the cannonballs because they looked to be for no reason. So unfortunately, it literally needed the old one too, because the old one, that wasn't good enough. It needed more. I've never known cannonballs to withstand Traptanian punches before, but here you are. It's fine though, those cannonballs got a 2-for-1 type dealio. And speaking of 2-for-1 type dealios, Wallop is about as broken as 2 Trapmasters combined. He is so fucking good, I can't wait to play as him. And better yet, preview him whilst we're at it. Oh yeah, Warlock, he's looking good, boys. He's looking good. Yeah, you pound it, son. You pound it. Get pounded. Okay, so we now have a puzzle to get to deal with. Yay! Don't we all just love puzzles? Left, up, right, down, up, left, right, left, down, right, up and down. You see what I mean? I can do these pretty much with my eyes closed. Unfortunately, I had no face cam, so there's no way of proving that I had the eyes closed. But, yeah, I can do it. And so, therefore, I just did it. For one time, I didn't have a face cam as well. I was for the stupid part, I suppose, for non-face cam part. Oh, I kill you, folks! I kill you all! Okay, I want all of this experience. Thank you. Yes, sir. Oh, now I'm going to be punching, like, literally everything in sight. If it's in the sight, I shall punch it. That's how it works. I don't make up rules. I just reinforce them. If those enemies don't want to get punched, then they shouldn't be fighting me. It really is simple as that. Boom! Get wrecked. Oh, that is what we have for Glorious Soul Gem for. I cannot believe this is one of the first Soul Gems you get in the game. If you're playing as Jawbreaker from the start of the game, you can pretty much fully upgrade him after the first 3 levels. So you have this ability throughout pretty much the entire game. And this is like an endgame ability. That's how good this ability is. This is kind of ability that you unlock just before the final boss fight in a game, and yet we get it as soon as you fully upgrade Jawbreaker, which again, in this game is not hard because there are so many villains and so many bounties. Earning gold in this game is literally no problem whatsoever. You also have a plethora of winged sapphires to collect. Like, this game just really wants to make it piss easy to upgrade the characters. But unfortunately, avoiding attacks of enemies is not so piss easy because, as you can tell, Jawbreaker, if you feared for his life there, I couldn't blame you. I was tanking at a few too many hits, one must admit. That's what happens when you have a large, bulky-ass hitbox. We gotta be cautious here, because the last thing I want to do is lose Jawbreaker, because here's another rule of the Soul Seeker series I forgot to mention last episode. If a Skylander is defeated in battle, their class is dead, and cannot be used again throughout the remainder of the Soul Seeker series in the channel. So if I lose a Trapmaster, I can no longer gain access to the elemental gates corresponding to said Trapmaster. Luckily, there are 2 of each element, so I can lose Jawbreaker, and Gearshift can access Tech Gates. But I'd have to wait until chapter 13 to actually seek out her soul for all that. Once again, typical SCADA games, they leave all of the best soul gems for all of the last levels. So you'll be facing, well, you'll be receiving even characters like Shortcut at the very end of the game, which is sad because Shortcut is such a good character. Without further ado though, as per the norm, we're not going to be reading that scroll. And we are going to enter into this hut, so then at least we've discovered the Chill Bill villain quest. But as I've said, we cannot actually access the Chill Bill villain quest because we are yet to have defeated the actual villain. Yeah, we have all the sparks of power. It's glorious, glorious, I tell you. Anyway, I have more things to punch, so let's get to that now, shall we? We're also going to be pounding this button right now. Pound it, pound it. Pound it! I mean, what do you expect? It's like this big, bulky, heavy-ass robot pushing down all this weight upon a pressure point. It's the equivalent of pounding something is what it is. Plus, pounds are also like a measurement of, like, force exerted upon something. So, when you hit something, it's a certain number of pounds that you are hitting it with. You know, there's also a weight, but you know, it's effectively strength as well. Because that's what hitting something is, you know, the more strength, obviously the more something will hurt. But strength isn't everything, you also need speed. In fact, that's what creates power. Power is the combination of speed and strength, so having great speed and great strength combined is perfect for possessing a powerful punch, which is exactly what I have. Probably not to the same extent as Jawbreaker, but a decent extent all the same. Anyway, let's be punching some stuff. And by the way, PSI is not pounds per square inch, it's pressure per square inch, because that's a measurement of air, and that's how air works. There's also an element of which we have two characters currently having seeked out the soul of in this series. That's the air for you, the air all around us. Hey, what do you know? Rizzo is thanking us for our accomplishments. Well, what can I say except you're welcome? Wow, we have so much good stuff. I love this good stuff. Good stuff is good. Anyway, let's punch this right now. I had it coming, it looks to be funny, no other reason. See, now that the Tractanium's been punching its stupid head, we have found the artillery storage, where we have, I believe, a treasure chest, I believe so correctly, as well as a Skystones game, which we currently cannot tackle because apparently we haven't learned Skystones yet. Luckily, I'll be able to do that for the umpteenth millionth time in Chapter 5, when we get round to that, mind you. Now, that is the unnecessary deep stew in this game, that if I could skip any unnecessary deep stew, it would be that. Because it is the thickest of unnecessary deep stew. It is so unbelievably unnecessary to have a tutorial for Skystones. Every single save file! Anyway, seems as though life is stronger here, so let's be switching out of the bushwhack and tackling some Jumpy Mage boss fights. I'm sure he'll get out of things unscathed. But he will hope so, because Tough Luck's soul gem to seek out isn't until the 16th chapter, so if Bushwhack dies, we won't be able to access life elemental gates for a very, very long time, shall we put it? Which is why we're going to take minimal risk, get high rewarded for it. We're not even going to conceive of fighting the broccoli guy. You know, that way we minimise our risk of death by not putting ourselves in harm's way. Yes, that's what I would say if I was doing the smart thing. I'm not doing the smart thing because instead I'm doing the even smarter thing than that. Who even knew there was something smarter than the smart thing? And that very smart thing, which I'm alluding to, is actually fighting Broccoli Guy. Then we can gain access to capturing him, putting him into a trap in anticipation for his villain quest in the 5th chapter. That's the only reason why I'm fighting this guy, so that then I can complete his villain quest in the 5th chapter. Otherwise, we would not care less about fighting him right now. Plus, Bushwhack is good, and he's buffed up. It's the exact kind of population we need to absolutely destroy those guys, like what I just did. I almost feel sorry for him. Almost, anyway. Stop running from me, it's so awfully rude. Luckily, this is what I have my soul gem for, which I acquired in this very level. I seeked it out. You can even go as far to say, boom! Tree for the win. I love the irony there as well. He's a life scanner, so you think he would love to prioritize, like, protecting the trees and the nature, and yet instead, here he is cutting it down with his massive axe. I tell you what, though, if there is ever a massive fuck-off axe, it is this that Bushwhack wields. I would not want to go against that axe. That axe is saying only one thing to its opponents, it's staring down, and that is fuck off, mate. Otherwise, you are being sliced straight into. It is the biggest fuck off axe I've ever seen, and I love it. But enough of all the swears. This is meant to be child friendly. I mean, the gameplay certainly is, but the commentary, that is not. Anyway, this guy's out of here. Boom, baby. Tree power is so destructive, and we love it. See you, folks. And this is what I have a headbutt for. Yeah, love the headbutt. Oh, but unfortunately, I can't knock back larger enemies like this guy. I know, right? Big sad. Okay, we'll use the acorns on these guys. Yeah, get those out of here. How dare you hit me? It's so rude and unnecessary. Okay, we'll bring out the tree again. This guy had it coming. That is if it wants to work. These attacks can be very jank. This is trapping form out at the end of the day. As can the hitboxes be. Unfortunately, this particular Bushwhack isn't on the healing path, so I cannot heal up before we'll come in conflict. But you know what? We'll be fine, eh? We'll be fine. Oh! Wow, the Fizzles destroyed those guys. I didn't even need the finishing combo maneuver. Man, some healing would be really good right about now, wouldn't it? Oh, who am I kidding? Who needs healing, right? I am just going to make sure, yeah, I definitely don't have the healing path, because otherwise I would have healed right there by holding the square button. Yeah, I just made this unnecessarily more tough on myself by not having the best path for this guy, because as we all know, any path involving healing is by default the better path. Oh, and here we go with more of an unnecessary deep student. I cannot push best button of video game to skip right on over, because that, my friends, would be asking too much now, wouldn't it? I love the fact that without the music, all what we have is the voice of Chompy Mage. Though I have no problems with that, because Chompy Mage is an awesome voice. Yeah, let's do this thing. Let's destroy some Chompies. Man, this is so much more easier than the Nightmare rendition. Obviously. It wouldn't be a very effective Nightmare if it wasn't harder than the hard difficulty now, would it? More shockwave powers. Boom. And boom. Yeah, I have to be careful of Chompies and shockwaves there, which is something easier said than done. I realised I actually headbutted off screen right there. You heard the sound effects for his headbutt. Yeah, take A-cores to the face. Well, I'm pretty sure we can double jump over those shockwaves. Or, well, not double jump, you can only get up for swapper. I mean, jump over double shockwaves simultaneously. At least when you're right up close and personal with the Chompy Mage, I believe you can do that. Hey, stay still and let me kill you. I don't normally ask for much. I just want this one thing. There you go. Now he's all exposed. Like, that was very foolish. And now he takes thistle damage as well as the axe damage, because clearly the axe damage wasn't enough already. Okay, here we go. Magma form with unnecessary deep stew. Finally, at long last, out of here. Take my tree! Boom, strike. Oh, ow. I've fallen who's got on strike. If. Yeah, we've got to play this slow and steady. I only have 200 health remaining, so long as we're cautious and I initiate concentration mode, we should be fine. Oh, and that's what being fine looks like. Let's frickin' go. I wasn't worried, was you worried? That being said, we aren't going to bother about putting Chompy Mage in a trap as of this exact moment in time. Instead, what we're going to do once we get back to the academy is we're actually going to place the Midnight Museum onto the portal, get one of the worst levels in the game out of the way quickly, as well as gain access to the Soul Gem of the one, the only Nightmare, because with that we can gain access to all of the elemental gates in chapter 2, and we can also take up Droptadium, so we can go back, capture those villains in anticipation for the villain quest coming up in the 4th chapter, which is why we have to do the Midnight Museum before tackling the Phoenix Sanctuary, because this allows us to set in motion everything we need for that level. Anyway, we're going to travel to the Midnight Museum immediately, and we're going to skip over all of the unnecessary deep stew as per fine norm. Anyway, there goes all of the skipping over of the unnecessary deep stew. And here comes more of the absolute destruction. Now, I do not know the location of absolutely everything in this level. I try to stay away from this level as much as possible because it's, like I said earlier, one of my not-so-favourite levels. Luckily though, I at least know of this Droptadium back here, which we are about to absolutely obliterate. Boom, baby! And now the chest is as good as mine. Even though the gold is kind of going to waste, given that Bushwhack here is currently maxed out. I understand it's hard to tell, but look at those 65,000 digits right there. For 65,000 ones that have all been added together to make up his current gold count. Or treasure count, I should say. It's not all gold. Anyway, we have no life scanners at the moment, so I'm playing as a life scanner. That shows what I know! Anyway, what I don't have is water scanners, and since there are no scanners that I've seeked out the souls of that correspond to this current element, I remain as the scanner I am already. That's what happens when you don't have a scanner to correspond with the current element of the area. We've seen that before with Know-It-All Island. Oh, and technically for Chompy Mountain too, when we got to the magic area, we had no one to correspond to that element with neither. Okay, we've got to be careful here, we don't want to be spotted. Very anti-productive that would be. And there it is for Prime Tower, but we're not quite getting out of here just yet because we have more things to be discovering. Such as a Winged Sapphire. Sure is a good thing that should I ever need any upgrades throughout the course of the series, I shall acquire them with ease. Like I said, you get high treasure counts and high Winged Sapphire counts in this game, both of which optimize you for acquiring upgrades. Is why this game is my go-to game for upgrades and leveling up. And then for Skylanders that obviously existed past Trap Team that can't come back to this game, for that I instead go to the Golden Arcade for the gold, and then I go to Abandoned Amusement Park for the experience. Or the Undead Realm is also a good one in Imaginators to level up your senseis with. Oh, your superchargers too, but obviously for that I set Imaginators to easy difficulty because Imaginators were stupid enough to nerf all of the old characters. I mean, ones from Spyro's Adventure, fair enough, they're pretty simplistic, like you want to push for new stock. But Superchargers would have still been in stores by the time Imaginators was released. It was only the game that came from 1 year prior. And not to mention, like, they even brought back certain Skylanders and Champions packs only for those characters to be nerfed. And they sold them at £30 recommended retail price. That's more than what the triple packs were worth when those figurines first released, and they're the same in price as 2 senseis. So you can either get 2 insanely powerful senseis, or you can get 3 characters who are still nerfed in Imaginators, by the way. They're the same characters, the same nerfed characters, they're just in different packaging. It is the most pathetic marketing for Skylanders I have ever seen. I love this franchise, I hate certain aspects about it. The Champions packs, the nerfing of old Skylanders and Imaginators, that's one of them. Also not a very large fan of the fact that this game has elemental gates to attract masters only, but since I own every in-game Skylander, not only do I have bragging rights over that, but also I can get over the fact that only track masters can access these gates because I own them all, so I can access everything even. I can access everything? That would make no sense, having said it that way. But now it's time for Jawbreaker.
Down for the count.
Yeah, that's what these folks were about to be, alright. See ya! Wouldn't want to be ya! Yeah, all these folks, they go night night! And we love to see it, we do. We love to see it. We also love to see a pizza. Oh, there's more enemies because the elemental gate hasn't opened up yet. Wow! I thought that was going to hit me and then it didn't. So I am A-okay with the lack of damage I just took. And now we have Crown Without a King, villain quest setup that we're going to completely skip over. Though now I'm sad I skipped over it because we had a very hilarious collision problem with Jawbreaker's fist literally seeping through Tessa's head right there. I don't think that was particularly comfortable for Tessa. Why is she even in this level, might I ask? It's such a randomly placed NPC. Not that I have any problem with that because Tessa is an awesome NPC. But still, very random indeed, and it's even more random how I could literally have a fist phasing through her.
A real prize.
I didn't know that was how Traptanian fists worked, but here we are. That's Skylanders logic, or should I say more specifically, Trap Team coding. Then again, they are pretty much one the same thing, given that there's a lack of logic in Skylanders, as well as a lack of actual good quality coding in Trap Team. If there was that, then we wouldn't need to worry about glitches and said terrible collusion that we just experienced. Anyway, speaking of experiencing terrible things, we unfortunately got caught right there, which is a huge ass time waste. Luckily, we didn't take any damage from it, so things certainly could have been worse. We'll take it. Yeah, let's punch that in its stupid face. It had it coming for being so stupid with its face. Now we're going to continue heading right round here, baby. Right round here, yeah. Because this way we get to gain access to a soul to be seeked out. The soul of Nightmare has been seeked out by yours truly. Without further ado, let's preview her and see what she are. Yeah, she looks awesome, mainly because she is. She's definitely not my favourite Trapmaster, but after the experience of the Skylanders Trap Team Trapmaster Nightmare Arc Francais edition, that is still a mouthful even to this day, but after that scenario where she single-shotted jumping major boss fight and nightmare difficulty, no less. After that happened, my respect for the character has just significantly increased. Anyway, let's continue on. What we have next is a magic zone, which unfortunately I have no character currently corresponding to that element, so we get to remain as Jawbreaker a little while longer. What's hilarious is that this is exactly what happened in Chompy Mountain even. So I'm getting a sense of deja vu, which is one of the magic characters we could have swapped out for to correspond with this element if we had seeked out her soul already, but unfortunately we have not. Anyway, this dude needs punching in the face right now. Boom! Get wrecked. It was a pretty penultimate beatdown right there, wasn't it? Jawbreaker it was, indeed. Anyway, there's a legendary treasure right around here, which we're definitely going to be acquiring because it's Blackout's head for some reason. But I love the fact that Blackout is kind of like a combination of a gargoyle and a dragon. It's one of the coolest and most intimidating Skylander designs of them all, so it makes for a really cool figurine. It has sharp parts to it that makes it really good for interacting with it. I like its texturing, and say the sharpness of the physical figurine itself just adds the intimidation factor. In game, the character isn't so good. We'll probably get into that even more in a bit. I just want to talk about how awesome Blackout's design is, and Blackout is a Dark Skylander, so having a legendary treasure based off him for the Midnight Museum, it just kind of makes sense. Oh, I accidentally flipped the wrong lever right there. Pinball in action! L to the yeah. Now I forget the timing on this. Is it when it's higher up, or is it when it's coming down, or is it when it's midway coming down, or is it midway going up? I don't even know anymore. It's not even going to matter because the thing's not even in the correct place. But I suppose we should go back to talking about Blackout's gameplay as I tap it in. Just got to do a little tippy tap. There you go. There's your tippy tap. Took more tippy taps than I was suspecting, but we got there eventually. But that being said, the problem I have with Blackout's... Wow, that was definitely not the correct timing. But Blackout's gameplay is literally broken, and I don't mean in the overpowered sense. I mean in the sense that he breaks the game. If you defeat enemies as they're being teleported between his two, like, little teleportation rings, they become invincible, and they therefore cannot get defeated. I, once again, cannot seem to time this correctly. And that's very troublesome for stuff like... blocked paths where you need to defeat all of the enemies at hand, because obviously if one of them is invincible and therefore cannot be defeated, you cannot make that gate lower. And it's also a tactic that is encouraged by the character. You know, it's kind of like it's an idea placed into the mind of the player via the upgrade chamber. So the fact that they encourage the very same gameplay that fundamentally breaks the game is what makes Blackout so broken. And because I fear using that tertiary attack, I fear that it's going to break the game. Can I get through this? That's a shame. I really wanted the treasure. But say, I literally fear using Blackout's tertiary moves. And when I fear using a character's moves and never use them as a result, it means that third attack is an absolute waste, and it really drops down for character quality for me. And it's a shame because everything else is really cool. I love his melee attacks. I love how easily they transition into his jumping attack that becomes a fucking buzzsaw. That is insanely cool. I like his little like black pool of death thing. Is Blackpool. That's actually a UK tourist destination, as well as very similar to the name of a particular Marvel superhero, where Ryan Reynolds literally played himself, but with superpowers. But say, for dark pools, they're really cool. They just create a pool of damage that really stacks, and it can be quite annihilative, and then you can charge that up and launch yourself in the air. You can't get damaged in this time. Your enemies certainly can. But you can't, and that's so effective. It's such an effective damage output to hit enemies and not get hit yourself. It is insane as you float above them and just create, once again, a black pool of death below you, and it's well animated too. So they put so much polish into that animation, but they didn't put polish into making sure that the tertiary ability worked correctly. It is the biggest letdown of any Trap Team core. Which is funny because Blackout, Rocky Roll, and Flipwreck are pretty much the only trap team cores I don't like. All the others vary from being very good to extremely good. Especially if your name is either Chopper, Fistbump, or Blades. Those characters are insane. Batspin and Torch as well, just to name a few. Man, my controller's rumbling like crazy. And my apologies if you can hear the dog barking in the background. There is unfortunately nothing I can do about that, as it's not my dog! Yeah, that's neighbours for you. If I could live without them, would I? No! Neighbours create a sense of community and they look out for one another. You know, without neighbours who are gonna watch my house and feed my pets when we're away on holiday and stuff, that's what we rely on neighbours to do. You know, you just go out, you visit your neighbour. Hey mate, I'm on holiday the next week. Can you, you know, just feed the cat each day? You know, in neighbours we trust. Wow, that guy's still shooting at me and I find that very rude and disrespectful, so I'm gonna punch their face in now. Boom! Get wrecked. Anyway, where is the exit around these joints? I can't seem to find it, but I have at least found the villain stash. So let us pop into the portal. Bruiser Cruiser from a previous level. We'll open up that villain stash and then get Bruiser Cruiser out of that Traptanium port once more. I mash, and I mash some more, yeah. Now look at all this treasure. That, my friends, is what I'm talking about! Ah, so much sweet and glorious treasure. Anyway, I'm still confused as to where it is I need to go. I feel like that was just an optional area for the villain stash. Ooh, but we will be taking that orange slice, thank you very much. For Firefly Gardens. Reminds me of The Last of Us, that does, and the fact that The Last of Us is getting a remake, which a lot of people aren't the largest fan of, because, you know, it's kind of lazy to just repackage the same game that's only 9 years old, so it still holds up, it's still perfectly playable to this day, and yet they went on ahead and remade it anyway. I do not care. My only mentality behind it is, Sony, shut up and take my money, because I love The Last of Us. I love PlayStation 5. I also love taking Bruiser Cruiser out of my portal so then I don't accidentally tag into him again. And say, I am absolutely getting The Last of Us Remake day one, and what's even more hilarious yet is that 1 week later, Splatoon 3 releases. Those two games, in tone and colour, could not be any more opposite, and yet I'm getting them both anyway, and I'm getting them both 1 week apart, so September is going to be a month where my wallet is going to hate me. That's for sure. With that being said and done, this video is coming to an end, and I want to thank you all so much for watching. By merely clicking on this video, you've shown support and helped it garner recognition so it can reach many of the viewers here on YouTube. I'd love to see you take the extra step and leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Also be sure to comment below and push that subscribe button whilst you're down there. By clicking elsewhere on screen, you can either check out a video that's specifically picked out for you, or you can check out the rest of the playlist for a series you just watched. Before ending off, I'd like to thank all of my Blazing Knights and Scorching Dragons whose support help make these videos possible. I'll be seeing you in the next video, and until the moment arises, peace!